Are you a freelance filmmaker who is getting jobs but wondering how to get called back for more work from existing clients and collaborators? Well, you clicked on the right video, my friend. First things first, if we haven't met yet, I'm Marissa Roxas, a cinematographer based in San Diego, California. Thanks for being here with me. Now, I'm still working on becoming a full-time filmmaker myself. However, this year I've been fortunate enough to be repeatedly brought on to projects by a handful of collaborators and production companies. And I thought, what a better way to show you how and why I believe I keep getting this recurrent work by showing you a week in my life as an aspiring cinematographer. So let's just get right to it. I structured this video in a way where I first give you practical tips on how to conduct yourself on set or in pre-production. And then I'll reflect on why I think these skills help me strengthen my relationship with whoever I'm working with, which then results in them call me back for future jobs. So with that, here's how a typical pre-production meeting and location scout looks like for me. So I started off my week in a pre-production meeting with one of my friends who's a director and another friend who's a musician, because the three of us are preparing to shoot a music video. And even though this project is by and large a passion project where most of us are putting in our own time and some of us our own money to make, I still treat every pre-production meeting as if there is big money behind it, because we're professionals here. So pre-production, I'm gonna say this a lot on my channel, as a cinematographer, as a DP, I highly believe that most of the job is done in pre-production, and once you get on set, all the work that you did in pre-production is only gonna help you to execute the looks and the lighting like that. At least much easier than if you have no plan in place at all. Anyways, going back to the meeting, how I approach it is, as the DP, I'm just there to really listen and absorb what my director, client, or artist envisions for the film or the video or the project that we're working on. So I take notes, and after they've given me their spiel, their treatment, their pitch, that is when I ask clarifying questions. And there typically are the same set of questions. It just depends on how clear the treatment is, and even if it is a really clear treatment, which my director friend had, I still want to make sure that I'm on the same page as my director and, in this case, the artist. But a lot of the questions that do typically come up for me as a cinematographer is, what aspect ratio are we shooting in? What type of camera movement do you want in this piece? So, you can go anything from locked-off shots on a tripod to maybe a handheld look or shoulder rig look, or if you do want some dolly moves, we have to figure out that. Specifically, I have to figure out that as the director of photography. And then when it comes to lighting, what type of mood are we going for, or look are we going for? Is it a warmer or cooler look that we're trying to achieve? And in terms of as I said, going back to this idea of treating each character's set as a painting, we'll get the wide on the locked off shot, and then I will probably do handheld for the other things, since especially I know Trixie's character is obviously probably gonna be the one with the most movement, but kind of the grittier feel of handheld, because they are going through it. So I'd much rather it feel
That's what I'm
rough
too.
rather than this floaty, dreamy kind of look. And then once I clarify anything that may have been unclear, or I just want to double check that that's what I heard as they were giving their pitch of their vision, and I know what they want in terms of look, camera movement, etc., etc., that's how I can suggest how we can achieve those looks and those movements within the given budget or within the resources that we have for the project. So yeah, pre-production meetings are very important. I'm of the attitude that listen first. This just kind of goes for anything. Listen first and then ask clarifying questions if anything is unclear, or if you just want to very, very much double check, that you heard things right and that, everyone's on the same page, especially when you are in collaboration with people.
I'm not good at this.
Yeah, I was like, whoa, that was so off. Dude, push my camera.
This week I also went on a location scout for another music video, which I am producing with another group of friends. I think there is actually some overlap with crews, and just a side note, creating with your friends by far is the best thing ever. Just do it. It's so much fun, and I think when you create with people who understand you, it just makes the process that much better. Anyways, back to the location scout. I approach location scouts essentially the same way as I approach pre-production meetings. It just depends on at what stage of the process you're in terms of pre-production and planning. I still go in listening first, and when you're in the space, just taking in the feel of the space, taking note of what the director's preferences are, what the artist's preferences are, client's preferences are, and once you kind of have walked through the whole thing, give your suggestions of this is what would look best or work best for the particular project. And then you can kind of go into technical speak and talk about like the quality of light. So, if there's windows, or, having to consider the time of day that you will be shooting at this particular location, outlets for powering lights and such like that. And I also think about where to stage equipment. So yeah, just to summarize, when you're on a location scout, you really are just getting a feel for the space, a feel for the director's or the artist or the client's preferences, but then chime in with what you feel like would not only look best, but also work best with, whatever equipment that you're gonna bring in. After showing you how I approach pre-production meetings and location scouts, I think what it really boils down to is ensuring that your director or client is confident that you know what's needed to carry out their vision visually. Pre-production is also the time to get and stay on the same page as your director or client. And that all starts with asking the right questions and then deciding what's needed to execute that project, given the budget, logistics, and schedule. I think this is a good time to let you all know that the week that I'm showing you in this vlog was a bit busier than most weeks in my life as a cinematographer. I was booked just about every day with either, again, pre-production, location scout, and on this particular day I was brought on to a project as a camera operator. I wanted to speak to this particular shoot because I was brought on as a camera operator, but I pretty soon got promoted to DP on set. Simply because the director just started to refer to me as the DP rather than just a camera operator. And when it comes down to it, the reason why I got promoted from cam op to DP was because I knew how to light the scene with the equipment that was provided. And just to give a brief lighting breakdown as you're looking at this B-roll footage, is I had to basically light a long dining table with 11 guests, and then a chef was going to come out and present his dishes, and there was thankfully a patio covering that had a white ceiling to it, so I just shot the most powerful light we had up into that ceiling, and then realized that maybe I'll shoot another light into that ceiling as well. And what that does is just kind of make a bigger light source to light, again, 11 people outside at night. I also had 2 other lights that were focused on the chef. So I just had a key light, I believe it was a 200X with a aperture light dome. And then I used a stand and a C-stand arm to boom out another 200x to give him a nice little hair or side light. And the reason why I used the arm is to hide it behind the wall of the house, just so I wouldn't see it in the wide shot that we got. Yeah, it's pretty simple, or at least in my mind it was pretty simple. Was it like the best lighting I've done? No, but my director is really happy with it, and truthfully, at the end of the day, as the DP, or as the promoted DP, as long as my director is happy, I'm happy. So that's just how it goes. And also, like, I'm not sitting here trying to, like, again, boast myself as the best lighting person there is, but I think nowadays with all the technology when it comes to cameras, the best way to set yourself apart as a shooter, whether you're just trying to be a camera operator or you are trying to be a DP, a cinematographer, is, well, you obviously need to know how to light in different scenarios. Lighting is intimidating. I know, because I used to be really, really intimidated by lighting a scene. And all I can say with that is that learning how to light just comes with time and experience and putting in reps. So the more projects that you're on where you have the opportunity to, I wouldn't even say you have to be in charge of lighting, but learning from other DPs, gaffers, etc., and seeing how they approach lighting, you're just going to be able to absorb that. Or I suggest that you take note of what they do, and then you can add that to your own pool of knowledge. For my last gig of the week, I was brought on to a corporate shoot as an AC/swing. And for those who may not be familiar, AC stands for assistant camera, and swing typically means that you swing in between camera department and lighting department, or G&E, group and electric department. So the particular point I wanted to make about this shoot in particular is something that is a recurring theme in my almost decade-long journey as a filmmaker, and that is to be the most prepared person on set. And by the most prepared person, I mean not just in knowledge and willingness to troubleshoot, but also the tools that you bring, the physical tools that you bring to set. And at this point, I've accumulated a good little kit, and honestly, a lot of them seem like odds and ends to anyone who's not familiar with the video or filmmaking process. But very soon you'll see what is typically needed on a set, but unfortunately, a lot of people maybe forget to pack when they're preparing for shoots like this, especially if you are a producer and you have to juggle multiple things at a time. So as I said, after a while you will take notice of, like, people are typically in need of batteries on set, or they're typically in need of, like, flathead or, like, multi-tools on set. And, well, those are the two things that were really, really needed on this set. So I had my little small rig tool, which is basically just a tool to help rig cameras up, whether you need a plate on or you are rigging a FX3 out, extra batteries. So I typically bring, like, these rechargeable batteries, so AA, AAA, and then I have, like, a couple different power banks that I just carry around in my little tool bag or my backpack whenever I'm brought onto shoots as a swing or assistant camera. I also have a little, like, cord bag with an assortment of, you know, cords, HDMI, micro HDMI, adapters, dongles, what have you, because you never really know. And trust me, you know, there's at least a handful of times when I had something on hand that a producer was just so thankful that I had, and they were like, you saved the day, or like, you saved the production. And I know that seems like an exaggeration, but sometimes that is the case. And You know what? You know what's will really get you called back for jobs is, again, being prepared and smoothing over any hiccups that may happen.
To reiterate, I think being prepared is more than half the job of a filmmaker, in my opinion, because anything that can go wrong will go wrong. So being able to roll with the punches is definitely something to get used to. And trust me, people will not forget the time that you saved the production because you had a certain chord in your kit or you knew how to troubleshoot a technical issue. Also, if you aren't initially brought on as the head of a department, be prepared for when someone higher up the ladder asks you for your opinion or suggestion when it comes to solving a problem on set.
All in all, always be learning. If you made it to the end of this video, know that I really appreciate you. If you are also someone who wants to go from surviving to thriving filmmaker like me, then you are in the right place and I'm happy to have you here. Thank you for watching, and until next time, take care.